American football in Finland.
The voice in your ears is Perfect Pervis, and welcome to another episode of American Football in Finland. I'm here with my co-host, Q Floyd.
What's going on, people?
And we have another great show lined up for you today. As usual, before we get into the football, how was your weekend, Q?
Weekend was great. Hot again. Some good football, so I'm satisfied.
Yeah, my weekend was, I really don't remember. It's all a blur. But like you said, some decent football was played, so that made it worthwhile. Let's get into the games. First thing up, game balls. Let's give out a few game balls from last weekend. Who impressed you in this week?
I think you already know who I'm going to say. It was a lot of good football played this weekend, but my game ball's going to no other than Dayton Wynn. Once again, another spectacular game for him, so that's where my game's ball going.
I'm using a proxy. My wife said RJ Long, so I'm going with RJ Long. He did play really well for the Wolverines in this game. In this game, they didn't have as many of their weapons on offense, and he stepped up, and he was that guy. He played inside. He played outside. When Rojo threw in the ball, he went up and got it, and he made play after play after play. He really – he almost had 200 yards receiving in this game, had 10 catches, and you predicted it before the game and said that he was going to have a breakout game. He did. It's just it looks bad considering they didn't win the game. A game they should have won. We both know that. This week, we're changing the format a little bit. Instead of going over each game, we're going to go over certain topics from the game so that you guys can get a feel of what really happened instead of just telling you the scores of the game. If you don't know the scores, look that shit up online. First topic up, let's talk about the Roosters, who now look like a legit top 10 team in Europe. Man, I'm going to let you take it first, Q. What do you think about them and how they're looking right now after this weekend?
I think she was clicking on all cylinders. From special teams, offense, defense, okay, I think the weakest link right now is the defense. On offense, they put the ball up. They can score the 50 plus bacon, as you say. Scoring on teams, man, you got a chance. You can outscore them. You don't really have to have greater defense if you put 50 burgers. So the Roosters are definitely looking at the top 10 team. They're getting into that rhythm, or they're in that rhythm, that playoff run. This is the part of the season where the Roosters really buckle down and football. So, they see a chip in their future. So they're the best looking team, obviously in the Maple League, but they definitely look like a top 10 team.
Yeah, I think that's what they did really well in this last game was that they played a team that shouldn't be on the same field as them statistically, and they proved it. And like you said, their defense, they give up points, but that's what happens. Everybody knows if you're putting up 50, 60 points, you're probably going to get in some subs on defense, and the other team, if they play hard, they're going to be able to score. And they saw that even a couple weeks ago when they played against the Butchers. They saw that, you can't just let teams have it. But the point is still there. They're going into these games, and they're dominating. They're putting teams away early, and the rest of the game is basically a formality. And that's what you want from a legit team in Europe. I know we're talking Maple League on this show, but the Roosters are on the international scale, and that's what they look like right now. Early in the season, they look like, okay, well, the Maple League is wide open. The Roosters look okay, but not great. But now, like you said, everything is clicking, and they look fucking phenomenal. I'm trying not to curse as much, but I can't help it. I got to let you know how much I want you to know how they look really good. Offensively, everything is working the way they want it to work. They're moving the ball at ease. They're doing different stuff. They even got Connett lining up at quarterback sometimes to mix it up. They don't have to, but they do it because they can. And that's the mark of a good team, is knowing that you can do what you want when you want. And defensively, their defense coordinator wasn't there last weekend, so that might have had a little bit to do with them giving up a few points to the Saints of all people. But the Saints are a quality team. Saints are having bad luck this season, and it is continued. In the last game they played against the Roosters, in warm-ups, their quarterback gets injured. So this is the, I want to say, third game this season if you include the game that Toscani Figueroa actually got hurt really early in the game, that they've had to play without a legit quarterback. How can you win a game? You can't win if that's the way that things are going to go. For the Saints, it just seems like every year is something. Ever since they got to the Maple League, every year there's something that keeps them from getting on the positive side of the season. And this year, I mean, it's been pretty much a scrap from the beginning. They've had personnel issues, and even now, Raymond Cotton looks like he would be able to get them over the hump, at least steal some wins. I mean, they already stole one from the Royals 2 weeks ago, but he gets hurt in warm-ups. Warm-ups. Not the game, but warm-ups. It's just, I don't know what to say besides just bad luck for the Saints. They got bad juju over there, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, quarterback to get hurt in warm-ups, man, that's the start to the day. You know, it's not positive. Brings everybody down in a way. And, you know, import-wise, they got an exciting imports, but it's just not enough. Going into a game not your starting quarterback against a top Europe team and top Maple, like you just don't give yourself a chance. And the Saints really have to, as an organization, have to figure out what they want to do. Do they really want to contend, or enjoy being in it and playing? Because at some point you have to go outside of your normalness and get those key players and try to recruit some players to the team. And changing coaches year to year now, that's a difference, man. It does.
Yeah.
Some players, you know, you want to build a culture there. I think they just need to like invest in building the culture.
Yeah, they changing coaching staffs this year. They also lost a lot of homegrown players out there. They don't that roster isn't a lot of the same Saints guys that's been there the last 3 or 4 years. So they're going through some things. Definitely think they got bad juju, man. Bad juju over there.
Oh yeah, definitely do.
Gerard Johnson and the Steelers dominate the Crocs defense. It is what it is. Tell us about it, Q.
Whew, now that was a game. Now,
Yeah, it was.
I think Kuopio really they do best, and that's run the ball. Johnson is playing amazing. It's exactly what you want from your running back. A lot of big plays. You know, the guys don't want to tackle him in the game, but when he comes in the first half like he did this last game, there, you know, over 150 yards, 200 rushing yards. That's what Kuopio needs. You know, they need to have like that. Seth Peters isn't the greatest, but he doesn't have to, right? They're still putting up points. Getting some good plays from their finished guys. And when you can combine your forwards playing good and your finished players playing good, it's nothing but just a recipe for success. So it ended up being a close game. So I believe the last drive. I'm not saying it shouldn't have. Shouldn't have came down to the last drive. So they do fight, and they did put together that they needed to be in that game. But Kuopio, as from the beginning, you could kind of like, you know, the Crocs were for themselves. At least that's how I was like, there's no way the Crocs is going to, man, I know they're just going to, you know, just for them, you know. And it happened in my mind. They had a chance to win and didn't get to do. So for Kuopio, it was a win for them. A close game, but Kuopio, they're looking good right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was 21-7 at half, and that kind of told the tale. Second half, credit to the Crocodiles for fighting back in the game and making it close and making the Steelers have to score in the fourth quarter to win the game. But you when you looked at the film, if you're just watching the game, Steelers came out and they dominated. Gerard Johnson did what he wanted when he wanted, and at the end of the game, when they needed him, he scored. He does what he does. And there was this feeling the entire game was that, you know, the Steelers are the better team. They're dominating this game, but the Crocodiles gave them a fight. And again, I'm not trying to take anything from the Crocodiles for that. They did actually compete in this game, and they played well, but there was no doubt, even though it came down to the end, there was no doubt that the Steelers were able to do what they wanted to. They want to run the ball. They don't want to necessarily put up 80 points a game unless you make them. Their pass game, Seth Peters, it works off of the run. He play action fakes, and that's when he wants to hit his receivers. Tino and Dongo does really good on the hitch and go route. They love to pull that out, and that's a big play for them. But it's based on the fact that you have to respect the run game. And Gerard Johnson, I mean, he's leading the league in touchdowns and yards and any other type of stats that he could get. Obviously, you have to respect it. The Crocodiles defense, it's their weakness. It is their weakness, and it showed against the Steelers. It showed against the Roosters. It showed against the Wolverines. In all their losses, their defense is what really let them down. Their offense puts up a decent amount of points, and their offense is able to score. But what can you do if you're constantly behind or your defense gives up points that you can't come back from? But that's going to segue me, because I might as well just do it, into the next topic. Crocodiles don't have that it factor yet. And me and Q, we've had discussions about this because Q keep picking them to win these games. And I keep saying when you play in the Roosters and the Steelers, the two things I said of why I didn't pick them was they don't have that it factor. Crocodiles, this is a good team. I feel like I'm like jumping back and forth because I'm saying negative things, but I believe this is a good team. But we all know football is more than we know that football is more than what you put on the field. It's more than the players you have on paper. It's more than what they can actually do in the game. It's more than the coaching. There's always this something. There's a little bit of something that you can't put a value on. It's the intangibles that a team has to have to be that higher level. And this year in the Maple League, the competition is high. So you have to have that it, and the Crocodiles don't have it. And they found it out in the 3 losses they've had. Like, they can beat a team like the Royals or the Saints with a few mistakes here and there and just out-talent them. But they can't beat a team like the Steelers, and they couldn't beat a team like the Steelers when it came down to it at the end because it took them too long to get going. They made too many mistakes on both defense and offense. And when you thought about the game, it was close at the end. I think the score was 21-27. Jonathan Baker scores a touchdown. Okay, that's the third quarter. Okay, we got one more quarter left. They're up by a point, and you're like, the Steelers are going to score. You knew that. But are the Crocs going to score? Don't know. Is the Crocs defense going to make a huge turnover and get the ball back? I don't know. That's because they don't have that it factor. There's no person on the team that you can say, okay, he's going to make a play when they need it, even though they have a lot of talent. And then there's no situation where you're like, their defense is going to do this, or their offense is going to do this, or their coaching staff is going to do this. Like, even going as far as the coaching staff, there's nothing schematically about this team that separates them to make them so special that they can win when you know they have to. And I'm sorry for making it sound so bad in my assessment, but it is what it is with the Crocodiles. They just don't have that it factor. All right, you can go now. Sorry for my long-winded.
No, you said every point, man. I mean, it was one questionable call in that game towards the end of the game. They ran an option to boundary.
Yeah.
And it was. I just don't see. You're not giving yourself a chance by doing that unless you already made a decision that the quarterback is keeping the ball. Running the option to the boundary is never a good. It's just never a good play, and especially like you always run the field if you're trying to have the actual option, the quarterback keeping it and making the defense choose. But we shorten the field running it. It's just a bad situation, and obviously you can see that for game. But
their speed option hasn't been successful all year, so it's just really weird to run it in that situation.
Yeah, it's not going to be. I always say when you run the option, who can hurt you the most? Well, normally it's the running back. If you take away the running back from the option immediately, now you leave your quarterback having to run the ball. You don't want to hit that much, and defenses want the quarterback to keep the ball. Unless you're playing like Michael Vick or something like that. But the Crocs, they have played I will say 2 games stood out where they should have won against the top 2 teams, and they took the top teams in the league right now to the wire, and they just cannot pull it off for some reason. I think it's just it says a lot for the other top 2 teams, but it says something for them that they can play with these teams when they want to. They do so much during the game. Affects them having a chance, and then every time they get down to make a stop or the offense having to make a play, they just don't make it, and that's that it factor you were saying. They
Yeah.
just don't have that. And when you don't have that, then you'll look back on the season and you're like, man, if we'd only made this play or if we only did this, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things. Second field and a half, but the Crocs they literally just don't have it though. And
Yeah.
I don't know what it is or
You
what,
can't put a finger on it. It's
but
that
it's like,
intangible.
yeah, it's just that thing that like, you just got to have that. That's all.
I mean, just last thing I'm say about it is that's the difference between the Crocs and those top two teams is that the Crocodiles are a good team. That it factor is what will make them great. Hopefully they can get that factor. They can get that it factor before the end of the season. Butchers offense. Oh my gosh. Butchers offense had a field day. I mean, obviously Dayton Wynn was the main beneficiary, but the Butchers offense showed its butt in this game, and they were up early. What was it, 13-3 at one point? I think.
Yeah. Yep.
The Butchers offense didn't play no games. They came out and it's actually been a tell of the season for these guys because I dogged them when they first came out in their spread offense. I was like, what are y'all doing? This is not the Butchers. What are y'all doing? But they've grown through the season, and in this game, they kind of hit I want to say they went to an apex of their offense. This is probably as good as it's looked in a game where talent-wise they were outmatched against the Wolverines. And they still were able to be successful on the offensive side. And that's not even talking about their defense, but their offense is really what they needed. They needed to be ahead in this game. That's how you beat the Wolverines. You make them come from behind. And their offense did that. Hans Fortune got the ball to everybody he needed to. Dayton Wynn scored as many ways as he could, as usual. And their offense is just really clicking right now.
Yeah. About them, the Butchers, man. Yemi, he put together a great game plan on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Offensively, he did what he was comfortable doing offensively. Dayton Wynn opens up his pass game, and he did, and he's a part of the pass. When you have a guy like Dayton Wynn, the Wolverines all week should be thinking, how can we keep him from doing what he does? I don't think the Wolverines did that. I don't think I think they wanted to play a defense that should be able to stop anything. Well, you've been giving up 40 to 45 points a game before you played the Butchers. So you got to change. And they didn't. Like, the scheme wasn't a good scheme for this team. You had your American import cornerback on the trip side, which he shouldn't have been on. He should have been the single receiver side. And I think that did exactly what any smart coach would do. And that's we're going to wherever we feel the mismatch is. And that's what they do game times. We couldn't get off the field on defense on third. And I mean, the Butchers, the 3rd and 5, and the Butchers are getting like 15 yards on a sweep.
Yeah, they're just doing a toss, like a basic toss. They're not pulling anybody. They're just tossing it, and he's getting out to the edge. Like, they didn't pull. They're not trapped. Like, there's no scheme to it. They literally said, we're going to toss to the left and outrun you to the left. Y'all aren't going to make the play. Sorry I jumped in there, but shit, like, that was obvious.
You're right. It was just like, we think we're better than you, and we're going to run what we want to run, pretty much. That's what they did, man. It was – watching that game was so frustrating because I felt like Butchers did what the Wolverines should be doing every game.
Right.
See the mismatch. And I mean, it's not the NCAA, it's not the NFL, man. You literally in Europe, you say, okay, we're going on this cornerback. This safety can't tackle that good, so we're going to go with him. Like, it's just certain things that you have to do to make it simple for your guys. And, like, the Wolverines haven't been doing that. But they have been doing it offensively. That's why I think they got off this game because it didn't matter who was covering him, whether they double teamed or not. He got off. But you go where your best playmaker is, and you want him to make plays. And that's what the Bucks did. They knew Dayton Wynn would be a problem out of the backfield. They knew he'd be a problem at receiver, and they went to him. And that was a big thing for the Butchers organization. Definitely a confidence builder going into these next few games.
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
And I had to take hats off to Coach Yemi. I know he watched film. You could tell he watched film on the Wolverines because he went exactly where the mismatch was majority of the time. And the Wolverines just could not stop them. They couldn't stop them. Wolverines put them in a bad position too. They got to, I think it might have been 4th and 7 or a 4th down, and you leave a slot. Miko stepping in for one. You need to have a DB on him. They left him one-on-one with an outside linebacker, a
Yeah.
young kid. It's just you just don't do that in that situation. They blitzed. I don't think it was a good time to blitz. Obviously, off because you haven't been necessarily making plays like that. And like I can't question Kari's call. I mean, everybody makes certain calls for whatever reasons, and he did. But that was just a bad situation to put your linebacker in.
Yeah.
And the Butchers scored on that. They scored, and that put them in a comfortable lead. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of plays in that game where kind of questionable on the Wolverines side. But then they still chance, game of inches, man. They still fought back and tried. But the Butchers offense, man, they looked good. Like they put up points.
Look, one thing we know about the Butchers, okay? Dayton Wynn's gonna get the ball, right? So I don't care who you are. You like you said, you got to make a plan for Dayton Wynn. Explain to me how good the Butchers offense got to be that this guy had 27 touches. They made sure he got the ball. He had 21 rushes and 6 catches. Had 200 and I can't find where the hell the number at. 298 all-purpose yards, including his kickoff. He almost had 300 yards, and that's an average day for him. Like it doesn't. This is one of the games.
Average.
Yeah, this is one of the games where he got more rush yards than pass yards because, like you said, they tossed him the ball, and then a couple of times he even ran up the middle, which I thought was crazy. One thing I thought going into this game was that, okay, for the Wolverines, they know Wynn wants the ball on the edge. So the Wolverines have to make sure they have speed to get to the edge on their defense, but they didn't do that. They played a 6-man box. Their linebackers don't have sideline-to-sideline speed. Jabari's playing safety, and he's usually the first person to make the play. That's a problem when you're playing against somebody like Dayton Wynn because he's not that tackleable that even Jabari had a tough time getting to him. But their linebackers were nowhere to be found, and that's because they're getting blocked by linemen who aren't pulling. That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
More than that being ridiculous, trying to leave the Wolverines alone is that's the Butchers playing ball the way they know how to play. And I give credit to that offensive line because I've really underestimated what they can and can't do as a unit because I don't see a lot of strength on that offensive line, but they showed a lot of mobility in this game of being able to get to the second level. And for Dayton Wynn, that's basically saying we're going to score every time because him and safeties, that's not something you want. Because he's breaking down a lot of guys with his speed and the way he can change it so often. But this Butchers offense looks crazy good. And this game kind of just proved that even if they're playing a team where you think that the other team can match up, they can't. Because this offense is set up in a way that benefits Dayton Wynn however he gets the ball. And it's going to be really good going forward because, in my opinion, right now, the Butchers look like they could be a playoff team. They look better than the Crocodiles to me right now for that 4th spot. Even though the record doesn't show it at this point, they look like they could be the 4th seed playoff team right now.
Yeah, if they can, it would suck. I mean, who ended up at first. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to see the Butchers play the Roosters first. Play Kuopio first, and then that would be an interesting game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If they play against Kuopio, that would be definitely a good game. Helsinki Wolverines look a hot mess. A hot mess. Man, you take it. Go first, Q, because you know I got something to say.
Wait. I mean, the team that I picked to win the championship, I definitely picked it off of the vets that they have. They have sustained injuries. But I still feel like the Wolverines have to make a decision as a team to say, we're going to just keep in the bed pretty much, or are we going to actually play as good as we know we can? I don't think the Wolverines played a complete game all season, though. I think they got camouflage with the scoring points to the first 4 games, gave them some confidence, and then after that Roosters loss, it was just downhill from there. They get a chance now to get a win. I can't say that this should be an easy win because I don't even know which team. I don't know if the team the first 4 games is this team still because it's so late in the season and you take and I mean Vasa, man, Vasa gonna play hard, man. They got a receiver they got to deal with this game. The Wolverines got to have some better schemes on defense. Offensively, they come with a better game plan on how to get their playmaking ball, and they start slow like they always do. always start the game off slow, and that hurts them because other teams get up and then you got to fight to get back in this game. The Wolverines have to come out and actually score on the first, score on the second drive. Like they have to get that rhythm early and not play so slow, and don't leave it up to your defense to have to bail you out because they're going to do it. It's just that simple. Like they're not going to. If it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, or 3rd and 2, I can't count on this defense to make that play all the time. And they need to be able to get off the down and give their offense a chance. But any team that's playing the Wolverines or play the Wolverines right now, I mean, Vasa, you better if Seppo got those guys watching film right and saying, guys, this is where we can hit them. They're going to run the ball. Vasa is going to run the ball. I'm 100% sure they're going to run the ball over 30 times because they know that the Wolverines linebackers don't dominate the box. D-line on the edge, they definitely can't contain. They can't set the edge. So this is going to be interesting. If the Wolverines lose this game against, then I don't even know what to say. That's 4 straight losses, and right now, with things are looking different for that playoff race. so the teams have to come out. They have to win the game in a nice fashion and play ball like I feel like they can, man. But it's just one of the things where you're losing, and you get close to winning it. I mean, really, Jason had a great catch in that game. Leave it up to the finish rest. Sure, you got that first down. They're not going to give you the spot. I mean, it's a hurtful loss for them losing that game, but a big win for the Butchers. But the Wolverines really have to make something happen these next few games to
that's for
confident going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. Let me just throw some stats in here, man. I like to throw in stats every once in a while. I like to look up the stats while we're talking. But let me tell you a story. If I came to you and said, all right, my quarterback was 26 for 39, threw for 433 yards, 3 tubs. I got one receiver with 178 yards and a tub, another receiver 173 yards and 2 tubs, and my team still lost. That's Helsinki Wolverines. You telling me Rojo throw for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, RJ almost get 200, Marcus Siskanen almost get 180 yards and 2 tubs, and y'all still lose. That's a problem. That's a huge problem because you can't ask for better numbers than that. So then you're wondering, what do those numbers really mean? Those numbers mean that when they got behind, they started putting up points or they started getting yards. More than anything, it's yards, not points. But it was too late by that point. And like you said earlier, this is a team that needs to start off fast. Their defense has holes. It's been proven that they can't contain on the edge. They can't get to the edge on a run play. Their linebackers don't flow to the ball quickly, whether it's sideline to sideline or even in the hole. They let linemen get to the second level, and that's because the run game is what really hurts them. What we've seen in the last 3 games is 3 teams run the ball on the Wolverines. The reason they were able to is because they weren't behind. In those first 4 games, Wolverines jump out. And the other teams don't run, except for the Crocodiles game where the Crocodiles weren't trying to run. That was their fault on scheming. They were trying to pass for no reason. But other than that, every team they play on the defensive side, we know they're going to pass because they're behind. That makes defense easier. Our defense is set up to stop the passing game. That's where the strength of the Wolverines lies. Supposedly it's in their defensive backs and because they have so many imports and whatnot. So that's what they knew going into the season. These last 3 games, including this Butchers game, the rush has killed them. They haven't been able to stop the rush, which opens up the pass, which gives you a whole can of worms. You can't stop shit. Again, I'm sorry for cursing. If you can't stop the run, you can't stop the pass because you don't know when the pass is going to be coming. Because a team that can run can dictate when they want to run and pass. And that's what the Wolverines have got to get fixed. I'm not going to say anything bad about their offense, even though it starts slow. I mean, Rojo threw for 400 yards. I don't care. If my quarterback throws 400 yards, my team needs to win. If my team doesn't win, my quarterback throws 400, no interceptions, I'm blaming the defense. Defense has to do something. They scored 30-something points. Come on, defense. You got to do something. I think for the Wolverines going forward, they're going to have to either make schematic changes on defense or their players going to have to play better. I don't know if you can get these guys to play better. They've kind of shown what they're capable of already.
I think it's a confidence thing, man, defensively right now for the Wolverines, man. They just don't have it. You can see on the field there's not a lot of communication going on. It's just a whole bunch of people doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
Jabbar, I got to shout out Jabbar, man, because if it wasn't for Jabari, right, the few plays that he's made, the energy that he's made, he made a big interception in that game to kind of give his team a chance. I'm saying, and he's not even a deep player necessarily. Now he is, but he's even a defensive player. So when you think about that and you think he's the best defensive player on this team that's playing right now, the Wolverines, he just like anywhere from the front seven, like that front seven have to be confident when it comes to this run game. And right now, they're just not doing it. Like, I don't know what they have to do. I don't know if it's personnel. I don't know if it's a leadership. But if I'm anybody that runs the ball, I want to play this team right now. Their confidence is on defense. It's almost like you can see the team score, put their heads down on the sideline, it's dry. It's like everybody's just trying to figure out what is going on. Look, no, they have to take control of this defense and say, you know what, we're going to make the plays we need to make to help these games. And instead of taking it, because right now they're taking it. When you linebackers get blocked, one-on-one, like the younger linebackers that they have, these guys are making plays when they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much they can do. But the imports are there for a reason. I don't know if you're a European import or what, but you have to make a statement in these games. They're just not getting that.
Q, tell them about the imports. What are imports supposed to do, man?
Man, imports supposed to be impacting these games, man. They're supposed to be playing not average. Right now, these guys aren't even playing average. Like, they aren't even playing average. I mean, I've seen one of the defensive ends for the Wings get blocked by running back. Not shot, nothing. I mean, helmet to the chin blocks. Like, it's just certain things where it's not supposed to happen. Like, if you have imports on your D-line, these dudes should be making some kind of plays. No matter the depth, I just feel like they should be making the plays of the game. James tries his hardest. You know what I mean? He can help them out when he can, but you got defense who are one-on-one all the time because J-Mo's double team. These guys got to make plays. Man. You know, it's just that simple. Like, they're just not – if you don't pressure defensively from your line, then now you go to the inside options. You know what I mean? You can't just blitz from the outside all the time and think that that's going to make plays for you because now the run game is killing you because you don't have a linebacker in there who can spy or whatever. You know what I mean? They just have it on defense right now. And I think the Wolverines have to find a way to get confidence on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I hope it does because I don't want to see them lose fourth game. But Vasa and knowing what Vasa does, run the ball, like it's going to be a crucial game, man.
Get it off your chest. It's that time. We're going to say what's on our minds, so let's get it off our chest. What do you want to get off your chest this week, Q?
What I want to get off my chest? Oh, man, the last weekend with no football, man. NFL is about to start cranking up next weekend, so I'm looking forward to that, man.
On that note, I'm looking forward to the college season because the colleges are starting their preseason stuff now too. And it's July now, so I think middle of August or third week of August, college starts. So that's about to start. So I'm seeing a lot more, practice videos, people getting ready for the off season. LSU Tigers got a new locker room and stuff like that. So for me, that's fun to see. Just the internet's going to get football heavy, even though we've been doing it out here in Europe all summer. It's about to get real football in the States right now. So both excited about that. Holla, holla. It's time for fan shout-outs. Going to the fan shout-outs. We still haven't got any emails, man. Send us some damn emails to perfectpurpose@gmail.com. Trying to get a shout-out. We want to engage with you guys. The downloads are still up. People are actually listening to the podcast. So if you're listening and you want to get involved, let us know. We're going to start doing topics now. So if you have a topic that you want us to discuss, send it in the email, man, and we'll put it out here. It's kind of hard coming up with these topics sometimes. All right. So for this show, we're going to mix it up again. We stay changing stuff because you can't stay stagnant out here in the podcast world. We're going to go. Yeah, you got to bob and weave out here in the podcast world. We're over. We just finished week 8 in the Maple League. So for us, that's the halfway point of the season. And we just want to talk about a few mid-season candidates for you guys to think about. I think You go one, I go one, you go one, I go one. We'll do it like that. Q, first MVP
Okay.
candidate you have at the midseason point.
I think everybody already knows who I'm choosing for this. If they number one pick for MVP right now, mid-season, I don't think it's other people who have played is good throughout this season, but I think he's the most important player on his team. And if he's not playing the way it's a different season for the. But they win right now. I mean, every game he is impacting for his team, whether they win or lose, he doing his thing, and he's trying to team win. And right now, I just him.
I agree with you, but I'm going to go with another guy for me. I mean, I agree that Dade Wynn is probably the front runner for us and anyone who actually pays attention to the game. But for me, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna show some love to my boy Miro Cadmary. Okay? Now, the reason I put Miro in the MVP race is because of what he brings to the table. Okay? I know watching the games, he has a lot of talent at the receiver position. He has a great running back. The offensive line is great. Blase. He's no Brandon Connet, all that crap. But if you're watching the games, watch the games. Somebody has to make the throws. Miro makes the throws when he needs to make them. Somebody has to make big plays even with his legs. Miro does that. And what he's done this year is he's done that on a consistent level in a league where you're not supposed to. He's facing adversity as, he's a finished quarterback, but he's putting up numbers better than anyone else in the league. He leads the league in completion percentage, 60%. He leads the leagues in yards. He leads the league in touchdowns by I think he has 34. Rojo has 22. He's averaging almost 300 yards a game passing. Not to mention that he's rushing the ball as well. That gets his actual total yardage over 300 a game. And what Miro has that makes him an MVP candidate for me is he has that it factor. He has that Tim Tebow gene in him that I don't care if it's the ugliest thing. I don't care if it don't look like it's going to work, but he'll make sure that when you need it, he's going to make that play. And that's what he's done this season with the Roosters team is he's guided them to wins. He's made sure that when they got ahead, they didn't give up any leads. And when they needed him to be more than what he is, he always steps up. That's the most valuable player to me. I'm just making a case for him. That's all I'm doing.
I got you.
All right,
I agree. I agree.
throw out another name.
Actually, Miro is going to be my second name, but I'll go on the defenses. Donovan Hayden, he would be a candidate for MVP for me. So really, he's standing out every game. He's making a big difference. Tackles for loss or sacks. He's all over the field, man, making touchdown saving tackles. He's making a lot of plays, and he's playing his MVP. He stands out on that defense, even though they have the good players on that defense. Donovan Hayden is one of those guys where you always have to make sure where he is, know if he's blitzing. You gotta be aware of him on the field, and that's what I like from him as an import. He's playing exactly how an import's supposed to play. He'll get my second MVP vote.
Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm not even going to do a second MVP because I feel like those three are the best candidates right there. So we'll leave it at three candidates, man.
Yeah.
I feel like those are three good ones.
That's cool.
I wanted to do a defensive guy as well, but Donovan Hayden is probably the only defensive guy who's consistently just made plays this year. And that's a credit to most of the offenses in the Maple League, honestly. It's hard to be consistent when a lot of these offenses are doing well against everybody's defense.
Cheers to the freaking weekend.
Maple League teams are back in action on Thursday with the Wolverines at the Royals. Then the Roosters host the Crocodiles on Friday, and the Saints and Steelers play on Saturday. Later today, our panel of football experts are going to pick winners for this week's games. The picks can be found on the Podium Facebook page and the Perfect Purpose Facebook page. As of now, Tuomas Häkkinen is in first at 17-7, and everyone else is 16-8, one game back. This has been the most competitive pick'em season ever because We're picking differently, but it's still all shaking out that we're really close on all the games. I mean, and I don't care. I get a lot of flack on the internet on the line, and if you're listening to this, you probably are someone who gives me some of that flack. I can handle it. But every time I get a pick wrong, somebody comments or sends me a message telling me I'm getting it wrong. And that's hilarious. But going 16-8 in this season, the way that these games are going, is hella good because every week we're being surprised. There's been a lot of upsets and a lot of close games that we weren't expecting to be as close as they are, or a lot of games where you don't really know who's going to win. And we're all doing really well on picking as close as we can get to right games. So that's pretty cool. But
like you say, think about this. Think about this, Pervis. Last year, this time, we already knew who was going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, true.
We don't know that this year. We definitely don't know that this year. We don't know what place, besides probably the Roosters right now, but that could change depending on what happens these days. But, it's an exciting season. So, like you said, those 16-8, some of these picks, man,
they tough.
they're not. They tough. They tough. Like, they really are tough. I mean, some of these, like, if you let's exclude the Roosters, right? If we exclude the Roosters, Kuopio, Vasa, Butchers, and the Wolverines, we never know which team is going to come play that day.
But
like, Kuopio's a little more consistent.
Yeah, but even saying that,
you never know. Like,
that's from like the last 4 weeks. The first game of the season, the Roosters lost to the Steelers. Like, that started the season off. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, the season started off like that, and that was a clear sign that ain't nobody gonna know what's going on this year. But getting to the weekend of games coming up, what are you excited about out of these 3 games?
Out of these 3, more than anything, the Wolverines, man, see what they're gonna do to adjust to the third game of Vasa. Are they gonna bounce back, get them a win, and get back on the inside, or are they gonna drop and all? I think the Wolverines. This is the most important game of their season because if they lose this game, I don't say they're gonna fall apart, but a lot of finger pointing outside of the team. You know what I mean? The management, coach, that type of thing. They need a win, man, for their organization's sake, because I know this isn't what they envision players and when they put the staff together. So you got to, I mean, you win your first 4 and you lose your next. That's a bad feeling right there. Something happened. You know what I mean? So, I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to Seppo. He called somebody out this game. So you know that team, like
did he?
He said, Benji, out? I'm coming for you. Benji.
Okay.
Benji, I'm for you. Like he told, like.
Okay, so Benji got to go to the other side.
Seppo probably saying,
okay.
Yeah, he got to.
All right, I'm interested.
He has to. He called you out now. So like, this is gonna. I don't know. Vasa defensively can
hold up
the Wolverines if the Wolverines getting the ball, but if the controls the clock somehow with Darryl, you know what I mean, then it's going to be an interesting game. If their defense can't stop the Wolverines, then it's going to be a blowout. But looking forward to just to see if the Wolverines and to see if Vasa comes out and a big Alpha July going to be important. He's going to be important in this game, the return game, and you're going to put on him for one. I like Eric, but he's going to be a matchup problem. He's faster than any the Wolverines' defensive side of the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do to take him out of the passing game.
I agree. That makes sense. For me, I want to see the Roosters and Crocs game because I know the Crocodiles, after last time they played the Roosters, they're sitting there thinking they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. And they got to be thinking that. They got to be thinking that like they knew who the Roosters were. They played them to the wire, and they didn't get that win. And for them, this is going to be indicative of their season. Are they good or are they great? For the Maple League, if the Crocodiles beat the Roosters, oh my gosh, that's going to just put everything in a whole new perspective that this is an open league. But if they play them well again, but still can't get out the win, it just goes to show that the Roosters are just they have that that you can't get by just putting together a good team. And that's what the Crocodiles are fighting. Similar to what the Wolverines have going on, the Crocodiles, they're playing to prove that, we got all these players and we can win together. Right now, what they've proven is we can make some highlights. We can play some good games that's worth watching, but you don't have to worry about us upsetting the hierarchy of the Maple League. You don't have to worry about us changing anything from the last 2 seasons. So for the Crocodiles, they need to upset the Roosters to lay claim to their legitimacy as a playoff contender. Now for the Roosters, they need to shut them down. For the Roosters, they're on a hot streak. They're putting up 50 burgers with bacon, sometimes 50 burgers with bacon and cheese. I'm not saying they're going to put up a 50 burger against the Crocodiles, but this Crocodiles defense could easily give them up a 50 burger. Amir Kalani is a liability on defense at the cornerback position. He's a great returner, but he's a liability. He cannot guard Namdi or Adam Cornett or Alexander Walsajev. He can't stop any of those guys. He might be able to get a couple plays, but if you got a 50-50 ball with him against those guys, they're going to score probably 6 out of 10 times or get the ball 6 out of 10 times, and that's going to be tough for them because they have to overcome that and get safety help for him in this game. But I do believe that game is going to be a barn burner. I think Michael Mattingly is smart enough to do some things that are going to, give them an advantage. That offense has been very creative with their trick plays this year. They practice them a lot, so it's part of their offense. But then again, you got, Mikko Koikalainen calling plays for the Roosters, and then Kalle Karppinen calling the defense. I think the Roosters pull it out as usual because, like we said before, the Crocodiles haven't shown us that it factor. If they ever choose the time to do it, this game will be it. This will be it.
Yeah, this could be a get back game from letting them slip the first time on either side. But I think Coach Mattingly is smart enough. He's watching film probably where he can take advantage of some of those matchups on the Roosters. So dominant defensively on the defensive line, man. So I think quick game will definitely help them out. Getting the perimeter can help them out a lot this game.
Yeah.
That'll back those defensive line off. That'll back those guys off. You can dump it off sometimes because then that slow down because there'll be scared of him getting out. So I think Coach Hadley he's gonna put together a plan to give his team the best chance to win. I think they just have to get some stops and get some turnovers to have to beat the Roosters because, like you said, it's going to be a problem all the way across the board. Crocs to match up with those receivers. They should play a safe defense. I mean, not the whole time, but I think quarters might help. Force Rowe to actually make make him throw those immediate routes. Make him throw those pinpoint routes. I think he's comfortable throwing go routes. He's comfortable throwing jump balls and fades, which is most quarterbacks are. But when you're making it that easy for him, then the chance of him completing it is great. So I think if they zone it and sit in with a little blitzing every now and then, I think they'll have a chance. But
yeah, that's it for the weekend. I think it's going to be good games all around. Even that third game with the Steelers and Saints might have some unexpectedness. The Saints might do something crazy. Who knows? They beat the Royals, so anything's possible in the Maple League 2019. That's it for us on the AFF this week. Q, any last words before we get out of here?
Hey, good luck to everybody playing this weekend. Let's see some good football.
All right, so we hope everybody enjoyed the show and will support us by subscribing or following AFF on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or Podbean. Whichever platform you listen to, just show us some love. And never forget
TIF.
All right, we gone.
American football in Finland.